Namaste. Greetings. Welcome, everybody, to episode 3 of Jam Series. I hope you guys have had a wonderful month creating, writing, making music, improvising, thinking off the top of the dome. Now, in the spirit of improvising, we are going to go and meet a friend of mine. He's a saxophonist. He's based in New Zealand, and his name is Anantha. And we're going to explore music, classical Indian music, actually, from the south of India. So I'm going to let him do all the talking and all the playing. Hope you guys have the instruments ready. Let's go and meet him. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure, great honor to introduce to you my friend Anantha Narayanan.
Hey, how's it going?
The listeners. It is good. I'm so thrilled to have you here. Welcome to our next episode, exploring musical improvisation from all around the world. I'm sorry if you could join us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation to share a little bit about the music. And Ludwig, it's been a long time knowing you and a long time admiring your work and even playing with you in the past. So it's a real treat and privilege to be here as well.
Shouting those praises. So we do go back, right? For those of you guys that don't know, Anantha and I, we went to the same school. We both studied music. And in fact, it was a while back now. Talk to them a little bit about the fusion concert.
Oh, so we had a group that was looking to combine Indian classical music and jazz, contemporary fusion elements. And as a group of 10 various musicians from various backgrounds, we invited Ludwig to collaborate with our collective in his classical piano with contemporary elements as well. And what a concert it was. It was a lot of improvisation, there was a lot of energy, there was a lot of mingling and clashing and some incredible piano tabla duets. It was quite a concert, quite memorable.
That's it, right? Mingling, clashing, crossovers, right? And I think this is been the interesting thing, talking with different artists about improvisation and also representing their countries. So if I'm correct, you studied jazz saxophone, but you also have a deep interest and a passion for Indian music.
Yeah, that's right. It's exactly right. So Indian classical music is thousands of years old. In North India, they call it Hindustani music. In South India, Tamil Nadu, where I hail from, it's Carnatic music, which is a little bit different, regional differences. But that's the classical music that I've trained in and really have a passion for.
That's really exciting. Carnatic music, is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
All right, cool. So when we hear it, right, because there are certain elements in music that make it sound like this. This makes it sound from the Romantic era. This is from the classical period. And what would you say are some of the elements that make Carnatic music sound Carnatic, Indian classical music?
Yeah, so I'll show you in just a moment. But I think there are elements of the main key is a raga, which is basically more rather than harmonic changes like you see in Western music. Carnatic music has a drone underneath, a tambura or a shruti, they call it, and the raga will pick notes in a scale, and a piece will be all based on notes on a scale, a raga, and these create a color or a mood, and then from there an artist will play a rendition of a famous song in that raga and then use that to improvise as well. So there's a lot of spontaneity in the music. There's a lot of recognizable tunes as well for people who listen to this kind of music.
Yeah.
And there's different rhythms, there's different ornamentations, also known as Gamakas, which really color the music. And it can be a very exciting music once you start getting into it.
Right. It's been interesting speaking to, we spoke with a man called Navid from Iran, and we were discussing music that comes together from celebration. Oh, that's right. It was also with Professor Wilson Chu from Indonesia. And he specifically spoke about Indonesian music is the coming together of people. It's a social gathering and exchanging of ideas. Would you say that's quite similar in Indian classical music?
Very much so. And I think it's in many ways similar to jazz. There's sort of a similar songbook that many people would know and understand, but you can have musicians who have never met before, never worked together before in a concert, in the moment, being able to play very robustly together and, in an amazing way. And so from that perspective, Yeah, it is very much about bringing musicians together.
All right, Anantha, I'm ready for these ingredients. So walk us through, because I know you got something. What's that strapped around your neck? A little secret instrument there?
Well, I mean, this is a saxophone strap.
I digress. I digress. Well, I tell you what, for all our listeners, because at the end of this, guys, I want you guys to go over this video again and have a little jam along with this music that Anantha is going to walk us through. But stage is yours. Why don't you talk us through some of these elements, or I like to say ingredient, that make Indian classical music sound the way it does?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So I'll probably start. Well, I'm going to start with 5 main elements. So the first is the way that the scale works, and similar to sort of do re mi type scales, Carnatic uses sa re ga, ma pa da ni sa ni da pa ma ga ri sa, and each of those. So your re, for example, is the second note of the scale, and that can either be flat, sa re, or it can be sort of normal, sa re. And so based on these, exactly right. So based on these, a raga will be particular notes. And so you've got some pentatonic scales, and you've got some full 8-note scales. And as I was explaining before, these are ragas which create a mood depending on what notes are picked.
So are these ragas, Anantha? So would they be known as scales or modes?
Yeah, so they're exactly scales. That's right.
Okay, got it. Ragas. All right, go for it.
So the first scale I'll play for you is a very simple scale, and it's called Mohana Ragam, but it's very similar to your classic pentatonic scale. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 octave.
Got it.
And I'll be playing exclusively in B flat. Okay. Cool. So another scale, this one's called Raghuvamsa. It's also a major bass scale, but it creates a vibe or a feeling of victory and celebration. And what you'll notice is that the scale that I play isn't necessarily linear. It goes up and down as it goes up the scale. And to use different notes then can change the mood completely.
Right.
So this is a slightly different ragam called Revati Ragam, and as I play it, I want you to try and, I suppose, compare it to the previous scale and more compare what your feelings and what your emotions are in response to the sound.
Okay. I found that the quality was like you were searching for something. I was searching, it had to reflect, to me, it sounded very reflective.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. The second raga is more about introspection,
right.
Sort of deep spirituality. It's sort of meant to be the sound of Shiva, or sound of the universe. So in many ways, it evokes that emotion.
Gosh, so do all the ragas, do they have a connection with some kind of emotion or mood, or is that completely up to the person that's listening to it?
That's a great question. I think on some level, in the same way that a major scale and a minor scale is used to create emotion, and on sort of some human level, everyone will have some kind of similar reaction to it. But actually, your emotional response to each of the ragas is colored by your own experience, your own background, and even how you're feeling that day in of itself.
Great. So just more subjective, yeah?
Yeah, very much so.
Cool. Keep them coming. This is really interesting. Cool. All right.
So that I would call that, so elements, one is the sa re ga, use of notes. And the second element is the raga, so the different notes. And the third is the tala, which is known as the rhythm. So that's your kind of 4/4, 3/4, 7/4, 11 sometimes as well. But I'll just play just a direct comparison between a 4 and a 3.
Did you hear that, guys? He said 11. All right, get him, Anantha. Nice.
As compared to a 3-note tala in a slightly different raga.
So talk me through this again. So with those elements, we had the first one, which was more. I noticed there's a lot of singing, right? There's a lot of singing in Indian.
Yeah, it's a vocal. It's an oral tradition. Yeah.
Right. So is this something that you would encourage for the students as they play and practice these scales to also sing them back?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think so. When I was learning the saxophone from a saxophone player, he would just sing actually, and
really? Okay.
to teach me how to play. Yeah, and what he would sing would be what he would play. So absolutely.
Nice. All right. So how many more elements do we have left?
We've got 2 more.
2 more? Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
All right. So the fourth element is the gamaka, or the ornamentation.
All right.
And so this is, every note has an ornament to it. So it's not simply just played like that. So for example, a scale might be a pentatonic scale. So your second note, your re, rather than just, it's actually, for example. So that's the gamaka. So every time you play that note, you play it like that. So the scale then is, yeah, exactly right, exactly right.
Was that it?
Perfect. Yeah.
Try and trick me in front of the audience. Come on, man. All right. So these are the ornaments, and what? And
gamaka.
What are they called? Gamaka. Okay.
Yeah. Nice. And so the last concept is that of ideas being built upon a motif, which is very common to Western music. But what you'll see in Carnatic is that one line will be repeated 5, 10, 15 times, but every time a little bit different. So I'll play you a couple of lines and just show you how it changes, and then I'll play a few more lines to see how it can really change.
So you guys can spot the difference. Listening up. Exactly
right. So you're so in the same raga that I've just played the last idea in. That's one line. So you might change that by changing the first few notes. The next time going a little bit higher. Maybe a little bit faster. And then you might sort of just throw the ornamentations into the air and see what happens. So you develop an idea like that.
It's limitless, isn't it?
It really is.
It really is limitless. So you can take it up, you can take it down, you can create ornaments around it. You can even change the tone of your sound, and this is for any instrument, so it doesn't necessarily just for the saxophone or the piano. All right, so as an assignment then for those, because there are obviously so many ragas, what we're going to create is there'll be a tutorial as well in which we'll take maybe 1 or 2 ragas. What would you suggest that the students could play around with?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the one that I've just played is a really straightforward pentatonic raga with simple ornaments on it. And that idea that I played, I think, is quite a nice one to develop on. So I'll just play it one more time for the students.
And Anantha, could you just remind us what it's called, that raga?
Yes, the raga is called Hamsadwani.
Hamsadwani. Okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
Here we go.
And then it repeats.
Got it. So and meant to be just be able to play around with that idea, right?
Exactly right.
Flip it around, make it dance, make it cry, make it sigh.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Anantha, you've given us a wealth of information in this short period that we can all play around with. But it's great information, and studying the notes, studying rhythms, understanding how the music travels. This is really exciting, and we'll be able to work with the students and have them use some of these scales and use it in their own improv. So thank you so much for sharing all of that there. But we can't let you go until you wish everybody that's watching a happy birthday. So, as you may have seen in the other episodes, so if you do us the honor, sorry to put you on the spot, but it'd be interesting to hear the traditional folk song of the world, Happy Birthday, played in Carnatic style. Would you do that for us, please, Anantha?
Awesome.
All right. And many more years to you, Anantha.
And same to you.
It's a good health and wealth. All right, viewers, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Anantha, thank you so much from all of us for taking time out of your evening to share the Carnatic music with us. And we look forward to sending you some clips. I'm sure there'll be students out there that would be interested in trying some of these ragas out, playing around with some rhythms, and then sharing some of their knowledge with you.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope you guys have fun with these ingredients and seeing. I'm excited to see what you cook up as well.
Cook up a storm, guys. All right, take care. Cheers, Anantha. Until next time.
Thanks, Ludwig. Cheers.
See you later. Nicely done. Thank you, Mr. Anantha, for your time and your energy. How cool is that, right? So this is music from the south of India known as Carnatic music. And we've only scratched the surface, but at least we have some basic elements that we can play around with. So number 1, the scale is known as the raga. Number 2, rhythm is known as talam, right? So we didn't dive too deep into that, but I would suggest do your own research. See if you can find out ways to change the rhythm, change the time signature to the raga of your choice. And number 3, we talked about decorations, or ornaments, known as Gamakas. And the one he demonstrated to us sounds like this. So instead of going 1, 2, 3, it's going to sound like this. 1, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2. So he's going around the note. So we'll play around with adding that into the raga. If you click right behind me, click. I've created a short tutorial, and it uses the raga that he used right at the end, called Hamsadwani. And I've walked you through how to play it, how to imitate it. I've got some rhythms that you guys can try out, and also the ornaments. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy playing around with the tutorial. Listen into some of the other recordings that he's put into the description from his own fusion of Carnatic music, and see if you can write a short composition using maybe one raga, but try the one that I put into the tutorial. I'm going to try and do a little bit of practice right now, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the next Jam series. I'm off to go hunt for some more music, so we'll see you guys again soon. Take care, everybody.